What's up everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Today's video I'd like to share with you what are the things that you should do to prevent injury, as well as what are the common causes of injury and what are they. Alright, so the first one I like to point out, I have a lot of this question and say in fact I think we've seen most of our sports players getting injured mainly from their ankle, right, and then from their knees, from their head, or from their lower back. So these are the most common areas. So before we dial into what are the causes, we're going to understand why does it happen. Okay, so when we're engaging in a high intensity workout, all right, or a high intensity tournament competition, right, so the nature of the sports requires you to do things explosively. Okay, so such as if you're catching a ball, or you're tackling your opponent with your hands and things like that, especially for those who play rugby and even soccer, people are tackling you, things like that. So there's a different type of injury, but I'm just going to jump into a strength based injury first. Okay, so what causes this injury? Okay, so for those who play sports, hopefully by the end of this video you get to know what causes this and how you can prevent it and so on. Okay, so number one is inadequate strength. Okay, so for those who don't go to gym, I think this will be helpful for you. Okay, so especially for those who play sports even for recreation, just for fun, play with team and things like that, I think you should start implementing strength training routine in the gym. So this will actually help you to prevent injury. Okay, or if you've been wanting to go to the gym, this will be a right time, or even now at home you can start to do exercises already. Okay, so number one is to work on your strength. I think most of us wouldn't realize, or some people may realize that they have inadequate strength. Okay, so you can actually tell if a person who has imbalances of his strength. Okay, for example, if you always kick with your right leg, chances are the left leg is actually so much weaker. Okay, so and for example, if you're playing badminton with your right hand, chances are the left hand is actually weak. So we got this discrepancy around there. Okay, so what happens if you have one side of the hip stronger than the other? So we tend to have muscular imbalance, and what this does is, when you have muscular imbalance, we tend to lean on to one side more than the other without actually you realizing. Although you may think that, oh, I actually try to put more concentration on my left leg, but the truth is, when we kick, when we are doing high intensity sports, we don't think of that already. Everything, it moves so fast, you wouldn't have that split seconds or even 5 seconds to think about which leg I should put more pressure. Okay, because there's no way for you to have time for you to think about that already. Okay, so our body will tell us what to do. Okay, this response is quick. Okay, so how you prevent that? Okay, so sometimes we get like injury around your ankle, we twist our ankle and things like that. If you're running halfway and then you suddenly sprain your ankle, provided this one nobody tackles you, nobody tackles you, you fall on your own and you injured you sprain your Achilles or something like that. Okay, so this comes from inadequate strength. Okay, so there's a lot of factors, but I'm just gonna put it simply here, just for the sake of this video. We're gonna keep it as short as possible. It's called inadequate strength. Okay, so focus on improving your strength, improving your stability, improving your control. The more muscular control you have in your body, the better you prevent injury. Okay, so that is a non-impact injury. Yeah, so we're not talking about people who tackle you. That is another case already. That is impact sports already. Okay, there's an impact already. This one cannot be avoided. Alright, so if people tackle you and your shoulder dislocate, that one you can't prevent, even though how hard you train your shoulders or improve your external rotation, your rotator cuff muscles, you can't do that. Okay, there's no way, but you can prevent injury through the things that you do. Okay, for example, if you're throwing ball and things like that, you can prevent the imbalances. Okay, so that's one point, inadequate strength. Okay, number two is overuse injury. Okay, so this one comes with repetitive movement throughout your career as an athlete, or throughout your journey in your gym. Okay, so if we always do squat most of the program in the classes, general classes, right, we tend to put more emphasis on our quads. Okay, so maybe lack of hamstring strength, right? So when we do a lot of squats, that's good. Okay, that's good to improve your leg strength. But what we are missing out is overuse. Sometimes we tend to do too much, all right, until to the point that our tendon gets inflamed, right? So because you have to understand, when muscles get tight and other structures gets elongated. Okay, so you have to think, if you have to think like our muscles is like a rubber band, right? So imagine if I have a rubber band here. Okay, so just imagine the muscles around your quads. This is your thighs, yeah, your front quads, yeah, is tight. What happens is it's tight here, it's gonna cause the muscles to shorten. Okay, so the other structure is actually lengthened. All right, so you have one short muscles, you will have one long muscles here. Okay, so what happens is that it tend to pull the other part of the muscles out of its integrity. Okay, so you will cause some structural shift without you actually realizing. All right, and then over time, if you keep doing it, if you're doing it 100 squats in a whole week, all right, over a month of time, it's going to accumulate. It's going to be a lot. Okay, and then what happens is that you will get this nagging pain around your knees or your hip. We are talking about quads here. So example, if your quads is tight, it's going to pull your hip flexors. Okay, and you may think your hip flexors is tight. It is tight, but it is elongated due to your quads is tight. If your quads is shortened here, and then the hip flexors is actually elongated, it is tight and elongated because there's something pulling down there, which is your quads. That's why it causes you to have a tight hip flexors. But the truth is, maybe it's your quads that is tight, that you feel it on your hip, and then you ended up having a hip pain, and then you ended up having a lower back pain. Is due to something inside your body is actually tight or either weak. Okay, so the only thing to find out is through a physio. So normally physio will test your strength, it will test your muscle length and things like that. All right, your mobility, whether you have enough range or not. Okay, try not to confuse tight muscles is always shortened, because they are tight muscles that is elongated as well. So we have to know the difference between that. All right, so even for those people who don't go gym, who always go for a run, for training for a distance run, the amount of pressure we are putting on our foot, because we run at half a marathon, full marathon. Okay, the impact that we take from our ankle is a lot. Sometimes you feel like, oh, my ankle is all swollen and things like that after the long run. Is because sometimes the volume is too much. All right, so most of us will always think about the end game. All right, after we run a full marathon, we feel good and things like that, but we have to think about the back end as well. What are you going to do to prepare yourself so you can have a longevity or your career as an athlete? Okay, so always put in more back end work that will save you yourself from injury and things like that. Okay, so just a quick recap again. So I think we have pointed out inadequate strength, right, and impact sports. That one is non-avoidable. All right, no matter how strong are you, if people tackle you and then you have dislocated something, or fractured something, okay, that's not gonna help, or an accident and things like that, that's not gonna help. Okay, and last one is what we call overuse. Okay, so you see the ratio: impact sports impact injury versus the things. So we have 1 ratio and then versus 2. Okay, so impact sports is only a small percentage, whereas the things that we accumulate and we do makes up the portion of the injury. Okay, so if you focus on these 2 areas, okay, overuse injury, getting yourself away from an overuse injury, and removing your weaknesses, that will actually give you a longevity in your performance. Okay, it will help you to improve your performance and prevent injury. Okay guys, now I hope you find this video valuable, and let me know if you have any questions. Please comment down below, and I hope you guys are well, stay safe,